Welcome to the Female Founder Unplugged podcast, a show for women entrepreneurs who want to build, grow, and lead successful businesses and high-performing teams. I'm your host, Lindsay White, leadership coach and people strategy expert, here to bring you unplugged conversations with a variety of amazing guests who share expert advice and real actionable people strategies for your growing business. Ready to get unplugged? Let's jump in. Hey, welcome to Female Founder Friday Unplugged. I'm your host, Lindsay White, and I have the amazing Candace Combs with me today. Now, this lady has owned her own spa for over 20 years, and she does some absolutely incredible work at In Symmetry Spa, which I love, including being a TMJ specialist. She's also a sober influencer, which I'm excited to hear more about. And she helps people get sober with a particular 5-week reset that she has created. She's coming to us today from San Francisco, which is so fun. I love San Fran, one of my favorite places. And Candace just has a real passion for the healing arts, including, massage, acupuncture, yoga, meditation, chiropractic, talk therapy, all those things that I think are so key to keeping us as female founders, keeping us well, keeping us grounded, building some of that resilience back that gets tested as a business owner. And I have already been chatting with her before we hit record. Such a lovely human to have on the show today. Candace, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, that was a great introduction. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I love it.
Candace has a Canada connection. Tell us about your Canada connection.
Yeah, I'm married to one of you crazy Canada people. No, Kate. You guys are awesome, actually. Yeah, my wife was born in Kingston, Ontario, and yeah, dad was Canadian, but from Ireland, so his whole family was there. But she was raised between Kingston, Ontario, England, and also Michigan. So yeah, so she has all the connections.
All the connections. I love it. Yes, the crazy Canucks. We love it.
Yep.
It's cold. We embrace it. Canada.
Yeah.
Yep. The true
I
north.
always
I'm telling you.
I always tell her she was raised in the frozen tundra and then went to and then Michigan's just like another arm of that frozen tundra.
Well, like those people that live in like Michigan and Minnesota and that, they're basically Canadians with a funny accent is kind of how we
Absolutely.
look at them. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's awesome. I love it. I always love when I have a guest from the States that has a Canada connection. So that's fantastic. Well, Candace, I didn't even read your full bio because you've done a whole bunch of stuff in your lifetime and still going. Tell us how you became a female founder. What's that story?
Oh, it feels like forever ago. I'm 53 now, but I started at 28, mostly because, I'm an entrepreneur and my grandfather was an entrepreneur. My father was an entrepreneur. And I can't work for people. I'm actually I'm this amazing worker when I work for myself. Like I'll work all the time.
Yeah.
No issues at all. You tell me to work for someone and all of a sudden all my drive's gone. I no longer care.
I love it. You're unemployable, Candace. You're completely unemployable.
Completely unemployable, which is why I own 2 corporations.
I'll
get called to do like computer work or something because I came out of the tech industry to go into the spa industry. But I'll get called to do other work and I'm like, okay, the only way I can do it for you is if we work through my corporation, then I can do it.
Right.
Just pay my corporation because then I'm going, oh, it's my money.
Yeah.
So, a little ADHD there. And I was meant to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And so what happened was in 1999, like I said, I rode out the whole tech wave in the 90s. It was fantastic. I love computers. I'm a geek at heart. And I got into body work because I look at the body like almost like a computer, right?
Sure.
So my ex was a rolfer. She had studied a form of rolfing, and she started teaching me body work in 1999. And I decided to go to massage school, open up a corporation, we were doing a lot of our corporation in Symmetry, it's now my corporation in Symmetry, was doing a lot of work for bands on the road. So we actually worked with Katie Lang a lot.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
Katie Lang.
yeah, of course,
Total
Canadian.
Canadian jewel.
Yeah, she's amazing. Katie was great. I worked with her a lot. I used to go to her house in LA all the time. But we booked her tours with massage because Katie was a
Oh,
big massage person. Yeah, I've worked with uh Pink, Alicia Moore.
love
Um,
her.
yeah, she's great. I've worked with a lot of people. I had lived in LA. So I had left the computer industry, opened up the corporation, had gone to massage school, then started, like I said, started working for bands on tour and booking their massage. And then when they were in California, I would go and kind of tour with them. Yeah, so I did that for a while until I got completely burnt out because I was like, I need a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
So came back to San Francisco in 2001 and opened up a brick and mortar. I never thought I'd hire people, nothing. Like it was one of those things that this just all sort of happened. I had a 3-week waiting list. Next thing you know, I'm hiring people. Next thing you know, I'm buying my now ex business partner out.
Right.
Um, and I'm running it all by myself. And
Wow.
through many ups and downs, I had to move from one location to another because there was this massage legislation that was poorly written. Massage had gotten stuck under sex work, which is really fun. I've now
Bonkers.
changed that legislation. It took me many years to do that, but I was able to rewrite the legislation in San
Wow.
Francisco. Yeah, and that was through becoming president of the Merchants Association. Getting to know people along the way and saying, guys, massage is healing. This is about a healing art. Um, I'm a yoga teacher, so yeah, I've done. I've had up to
Wow.
25 employees. Uh, COVID was absolutely the biggest obstacle
Oh
up
gosh.
and that I've ever hit.
Yeah.
Even when I had to change legislation, I had to build out
Yeah.
something in San Francisco, which is, if you ask anyone in San Francisco, it's a nightmare. San Francisco can be really terrible towards small business. I've done a
Mm.
lot to change that. Thank you,
Yeah.
God. Um, uh, but COVID
Yeah.
was, we were down for almost 2 years. San Francisco
Mm.
was great in the beginning and terrible at the end. They just
Yeah.
didn't want us to work. We had to form a group. I had a letter walked into the governor's office through a
Yeah.
friend of mine, Malia Cohen, who I adore, to say, hey, we can do this. This is
Yeah.
massage can open,
Yeah.
tattoo can open, hair can open.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
all formed this alliance.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was such a journey because no one has really showed up to help us until now. So
Yeah.
I'm not I mean, still hasn't shown up to help us. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say.
It's
Um,
so tough.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was horrible, and it still is. Like a lot of us are just digging out of it. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you, God. Um,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, there was literally 6 months ago. I was like, I don't know. I'm gonna do what I can do, but if something doesn't turn around in 6 months, and it did,
Yeah.
and now I'm like, oh, okay, I see this. But
Yeah.
boy, that was an uphill battle because for a
Yeah.
lot of small businesses, entrepreneurs, you just don't know. You're like,
Yeah.
hey, do I throw in the towel? Is this the moment?
Yeah.
You know, is anyone going to come and help me? And the answer is yes and no.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so the yes comes in forms of people like you and I,
Yeah.
right? Small people showing up to help other people.
Yes.
And the no comes in the form of government because no, they're not coming to help you. They will ask everything of you, take everything, but not show up to help you. And that is really the sad truth.
I like that actually, though. That is the truth. That yeah, it as a small business owner, no, um, no one's coming to help. No
Right.
one's going to build your business for you.
Yep.
You have to be prepared. And I recorded an earlier episode all around resilience because I think it is such an underestimated um, skill and competency set as a business owner is being
Yes.
resilient, the ability to bounce back and keep
Yes.
bouncing,
Absolutely.
right? Um,
Oh, it is a constant. It
it
is
is a
a
constant.
constant.
It
Yeah.
is a constant, and you're right. COVID ruined everything. And I say that a little bit tongue in cheek,
Yes.
because there were some beautiful things that came out of COVID.
Hmm.
But yeah, particularly as a business owner, COVID ruined everything. And if you were a business owner that had a hands-on business like massage and body work,
Yes.
you struggled mightily.
Oof.
Didn't
Yeah.
matter what part of the world you were in, whether you were in
Yes.
the US, Canada, Europe, any of those things, that's been tricky. And it has, it's taken 18 long months for businesses to respond.
Yeah.
Um, really hard. So, can I just say congratulations
Oh, thank you.
for
Thank
sticking
you.
with
Thank
it.
you.
Glad
Yeah.
you're
That,
here. Glad you're here to tell us about that it's even in the last 6 months, it's gotten better. I love that message.
yeah. Yeah. And it was a lot of just throwing things, and seeing what would stick. Right. So, because that is the nature of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it is.
And for me, there was a lot of beautiful moments, just like you said, that
Yeah.
came out of COVID. So yes, were we down for 2 years? But I made some amazing changes. Amazing. Like, I decided I don't want to manage. When we went down that March of 2020, I was managing 16 people, 16, 17 people. I did, and I had my brother helping me. Um, and I didn't want to do it anymore. He was miserable. I was unhappy. That day it was like, oh, okay, everybody's got to get laid off. And then when I started to come back from it, I was like, I dreaded that
Mhm.
number. And right now I have a business. I had to let my brother go. He now does his own thing because
Okay.
for obvious reasons,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
could not afford him. Um, uh, I took on a business partner who runs my esthetician room. And the way we do it, and this is where you throw things out the window and see what
Yeah.
sticks, right? The way we do it is we just do a split. We don't become business partners. She has her corporation, I have mine. She runs my esthetician room. We do the split. The end. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a
Beautiful.
clean, lovely relationship. And I manage the esthetician. So I manage about 8 people, but all of those 8 people are grown-ups
Yeah.
and they can handle their own stuff. And I have 2 renters and they're lovely. So I have this amazing life with an amazing business. Obviously, I always need to make more money, especially coming out of COVID with the debt that
Yeah.
most of us are sitting on.
Yeah.
Um, but I became a TMJ specialist through COVID. And
Okay.
I had always done TMJ, but through COVID, people were calling me and going, Candace, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I'm grinding every night. Well, because
Right.
everyone went home to their, either, sadly to say, either you had a bad marriage and you went home and you realized it, or you had a terrible job and you went home and you realized it, or
Yes.
you didn't realize how much your kids were driving you insane. Like,
Right. It was a
all
lot
of
of
the
togetherness or a lot of apartness, depended on how you were looking at it.
Absolutely. And it changed so much for people. And so every day I was getting these calls. I don't know what to do. I'm grinding all night. I'm clenching all day. I've got headaches. My
Yeah.
teeth hurt, all the things. I can hardly chew. And so there I was on the phone, because at that point couldn't touch people. So I was like, this
Yeah.
is what you do. And so I was kind of coaching people through it. And I was like, listen, I think we'll be back up. And like,
Yeah.
whatever it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
So, because we'd go up and down, up and down,
Yes. Yes.
and started getting him in the room, was able to do my TMJ, and then it just became a thing. And then the sober reset, I haven't drank in 9.5 years. I've been sober for 9.5 years.
Congratulations.
Uh, thank you, thank you, Oh no, I'm sorry, 8.5 years. It'll be 9 in October. I'm saying the wrong number.
No,
Sorry.
that's wonderful.
So,
Still, that's a great big number.
thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Uh, and the other thing I noticed was when people went home, they started drinking a lot of wine.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of other things. And so that became an epidemic. So in my room, I would be working on people's jaws and talking about alcohol.
Yeah.
Okay, well, because I didn't drink, but it had nothing to do with the pandemic. I had just quit years ago.
Yeah.
And but there I was talking about it. So then I wrote a 5-week sober reset. And yeah, so that's what I do.
Wow.
I manage my spa, uh, and we do only deep tissue and sports massage. I send all of my TMJ clients to my body workers who I've hired, so it's perfect. We
Yeah.
do facials and waxing, and we do gua sha in the room, which goes hand in hand with TMJ.
Right.
So I'm sending my clients over to go get a gua sha facial because that's going to really help your jaw. So it just everything sort of during COVID, everything married each other. It was perfect. So here I am.
Yeah, no, I thank you, and I love that. What an epic journey, and COVID was so tricky, but you're right. It really forced us to realign on so many things. And Candace, what I want to ask you about, because of course, in this podcast in particular, but in the work I do with women led businesses in general, is really about, being a really great leader, building workplace cultures that are, really enable people to do their best work and feel like they belong and doing that in a really strategic, intentional way. And so I want to ask you, you talked just a minute ago about how you had 16 or 17 direct reports. You really dreaded it. It was so challenging as a
Yes.
business owner and a leader. What
Yes.
was it that made that so miserable for you? What were those things?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm doing now and then go back in time
Yeah,
to tell
sure.
you what
I love
happened
that. I love that.
because that's a great question. And people don't talk about it enough. Culture.
Yeah.
Like they talk about culture in these huge corporations. Like you go into Apple, what's the culture? You go into Google,
Oh,
what's the culture? Any big startup, right? But no one ever really talks about it in small business terms. But
yeah.
there is a culture
There
there.
has to be.
Absolutely. And what I noticed before, because I tried to franchise, there were things I tried to
Yeah.
do to like sort of, make, kind of create an empire. My mind before COVID was all about money.
Mhm.
I started this business to help people.
Right.
And then throughout the years, for all kind of different reasons, it completely just turned into got to make more money, got to make more money,
Right.
need this, need that, need a
Right.
bigger house, need a, all
Right.
the things. And I realized, wow, I'm really just not happy, but I didn't realize that until we went down. And,
Yeah.
so the culture before was just I had a great team, great team, but it was also, I had 5 receptionists and they drove me crazy. And as body workers, I had a core team and then other people would go in and out. And then there was never crazy amounts of drama, but there was enough to drive you crazy, constant phone calls. It just wasn't worth it. And when I had tried to franchise, the franchisees drove me crazy. It's just a terror. I'm sorry. I hate to say that. It is a really bad model. So
Yeah.
that's
It
that's
can
a
be a very tricky model.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's like a whole other podcast. But
Right.
so I had sold one. I hated it. I got out. I was done. Uh, so now my culture is small and more of a family, and we're all dedicated to helping people. I've dialed back the I need to make so much money, everything's about money, and really stepped into my power more than anything.
Yeah.
Stepped into who I truly am and what I want to be in this world. And what I
Oh,
want to be is someone who helps people.
yeah.
That's someone who puts love out there instead of this constant capitalist,
Yeah.
of course I have to make money. Like there's
100%.
that is there. But I don't want to be driven by that. So the
Yeah.
culture is one of we all respect each other.
Yeah.
There's a lot of love. We all need to speak nicely to each other. You know,
Uh,
I I'm 53. I'm going through menopause. One of my body workers called me out the other day in a very sweet, kind way. He just said, "Oh, Candace, that kind of made me sad the way you spoke to me." And I sat back and went,
oh,
"Yeah." I sat back and went, "I'm Gen X. If I said that to a boomer, they would die. They would be like, "Are you crazy? You need to go, like, what is
Yeah.
going on?" But I was like, this millennial who's a kind-hearted, amazing therapist. I was like, "He's right. I need to talk to him like that." I was just really annoyed at the moment,
Yeah. Yeah.
and not all because of him. Really, it was because of many things. And
Mm.
I'm in menopause. Who knows if it was anything?
Oh,
So that's a whole nother.
yeah, that it like again, that's a whole nother podcast. There's another person that does a podcast about that. Um, so thank you for walking us through that. As someone who works with female founders in this space a lot, this idea that money becomes a value, money's a metric. Money is
Mhm.
a way that we measure success. But the truth, success is the value. But the truth is, money's just one way we measure it. Success is also measured in connection, in
Yes.
kindness, in
Yes.
family, in
Yes.
love, right?
Yes.
In presence. And
Yeah.
so that is exactly the problem. You articulated it beautifully, is that money becomes the value, but it is not actually a value and it is not fulfilling in any way. And
No.
what COVID evidently gave you is the opportunity to realign your values. And it did for so many of us. That's why
Yes.
people didn't go back to the same jobs. That's why they didn't
Right.
go back to those soulless, Fortune 500 companies, because
Yes.
actually we recognized that the money isn't everything. In fact, the money
Yes.
does not bring happiness. Now, it'll allow you to buy a few things.
Yeah.
Hey, let's
Yeah.
be clear. Candace and I run for-profit businesses. We
Yes.
are not
Absolutely.
against making money in any way,
No. No.
but money is not the value. The
No.
time, the connection, you talked about kindness and love. You use some very big, beautiful words, right?
Yes.
That you want to create
Yes.
real relationships, not just with your clients, but with the people that work in your business, the people that are the value. Those people
Absolutely.
generate all the value in your business.
Yes. Yes. And I would get mad at San Francisco for doing this, that, and the other. And and what I had forgotten about really was my people.
Yes.
And that is what I'm being brought back to. And yes, I do love to make money. If you look at how much my 30-minute session and how much my hour session is and my 15-minute, I charge a lot. You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
it's set up like that. I don't want people to see me that often. I'm 53. I have to be careful about how much I
Sure.
work. And I want them to go to my other body workers. And my goal with the spa is really what I'd love to do, because you guys don't have to deal with this in Canada, but I'd love to be able to offer a good health plan, PTO. There's all these things I want to
Ah,
offer, but right now I have to dig out of the COVID hole. So
yes.
there's no,
100%.
that's like pipe dream future,
Yes.
future planning, hopefully. But yeah, it has really turned for me. I stopped listening to all these, nothing wrong with male entrepreneurial podcasters. There's nothing wrong with them. But the goal is constantly money, 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 money,
Yeah.
money,
No.
and everything else is forgotten. And so I really was like, I have to stop. I can't, like, this is
No.
killing my soul.
Yes.
So yeah, so my
Thank you for
culture
sharing.
is really kindness. Like, especially
Yes.
since he said, I was like, oh, okay, I need to be kinder. So
Yes.
I have really just, through my menopause gone, I need to be kinder. So
Yes.
yeah.
We can all be
Yeah,
kinder. Thank
exactly.
you. Thank you for articulating that. You've done such a wonderful job of bringing this to the forefront. And this is what season 4, this unplugged version of the podcast is about, is really getting under the hood inside female founded businesses to understand, what is actually going on, what's important, what needs to shift or change. And yes, we want to create businesses where we actually make money. We want
Yeah,
to make a
absolutely.
good living. We bring a great deal of skill and talent and expertise, right? We are
Yes,
good at what we do. We are
absolutely.
top flight professionals. I don't work with anybody else but top flight professionals. But
Yes.
we want to create these businesses so that we can feel fulfilled. We feel
Yeah.
joyful in the work. We feel
Yes.
like what you said, you feel like you're living your purpose.
Yes.
We feel like the work we do every day fulfills a greater meaning for us and for the people that work in our business with us, that they feel like
Exactly.
they belong. They
Yeah.
feel like they can deliver their best.
Yes.
That's a great workplace culture. That's
Yes.
my mission, is to create, you have already started for every other women-led business, is a place
Yeah.
where everybody comes to work every day and feels great about their contribution.
Yeah. Yeah. Oprah says it best. Like when you align with your purpose, the
Yeah,
universe just rewards it and
just
you just
rewards
go.
it. Yeah,
So what that means is the money comes, the staff comes. Like for me this past year, I had to get rid of two extremely toxic people
yeah,
who one of them had a lot of clients. And I had to go, you have to move on.
yeah.
And because I want that shift of kindness, love, everybody respects each other.
Yes,
Um, and so, yeah, it's been, for me, it's been this curating.
yes,
Not only are they great body workers, amazing estheticians, but they also have to fit into the personality of the spa. And
yeah,
so
yeah,
that means making, actually right now, making less money, and having a lower staff, which is what I want at the end of
yeah,
the day.
yeah,
And I'm telling the universe, here you go, universe. I'm happy.
yeah,
I'm aligning with my purpose.
yeah.
I trust. Now, most days I say this. There are days that I go, "What is happening?"
Yeah.
But like let's not get crazy.
Yes,
Like
yes.
there's
There
some
are
days I'm
days
like,
when you think, "What am I doing? Have I lost
yes,
my mind? What is happening to me?"
yes, yes,
100%. It's not all
yeah.
sunshine, rainbows, and baby unicorns. No.
No, no, not even kind of. But right now I feel like I'm really, aligned with the purpose and moving along, and I feel, oh God, like I'm gonna knock on everything, like extremely happy with all of that. So
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. See, and I think one of the most I hear from business owners, I was just working with one this morning. We're going to do a workshop with his, I work with men too, because I work with great people, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
We're going to do some work with his team later this month about their values. And he says, well, we have this value of integrity, but and I love defining that with business owners and their teams. And you articulated it in your behavior, which is, I released a wonderful practitioner who was very talented, had a big book of clients, and that's integrity. You do the right thing even if
Yes.
it isn't revenue positive. You do the right
Absolutely.
thing even when nobody is watching. That is integrity. And I'll
Well,
tell you, when we do that as business owners, when we operate with integrity, that shows every other person in our business and our clients that
yes.
integrity matters. When we don't make those tough choices, it
Yep.
shows that that value isn't valid. Doesn't make sense.
Absolutely.
Love it.
And not only did I let her go because I was like, we're done. I called her clients that loved her, the ones who wanted to be with her, and
Yeah.
said, listen, we've had to, I didn't, there was no drama. I said, we just, it, I needed to move her along. She needed to go for her own good. And I was like, here's her number. Reach out to her. You love
Yes.
her. You should go with her.
Yeah.
That right there, I was like,
Integrity.
and everybody was like, what are you doing? That's funny. I'm like, no, it doesn't matter. Like someone else will come back to me tenfold.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with you. When we do the right thing and it's not driven by money, you will at some point, it'll take a minute. Absolutely. I went through a month of like, okay, you know, did I do the right thing? And I knew I had. And then boom, three
Yeah.
months later, 4 months later, here I am going, oh yeah, that was absolutely positively
Yeah.
the right thing.
See, and this is, I mean, you've really beautifully illustrated it for everyone that's listening. When you build a business and a workplace culture that is based on what your purpose is, when you're clear on what that is, and your purpose isn't just to make money. Your
Right.
purpose is to help people live meaningful lives free of pain, or what, right? Like it's got to be something you deeply connect to. When you have really incredible values, right? That are well articulated and that you can really bring to life. That is the way you do business. That's your culture. Culture
Yeah,
is how we get work done together. And
absolutely.
we
Yep.
have to show up and do that work together every single day. That's how we grow and nurture a great workplace culture. I love that actually COVID, as horrible as
Right.
catastrophic as it was,
Yeah.
it's really allowed you to reinvent
Oh my God.
your
Yes.
culture and really reconnect with your purpose and build
Yes.
something back that's even more meaningful. That's remarkable.
Yeah, and there are so many days I say I'm so grateful for COVID.
Sure.
Especially now, y- being as I watch everything come back and become bigger and bigger, and money is flowing
Yeah.
in again. I go, okay, that was seriously one of the best slash worst times of our life because we did lose a lot of souls.
Sure we
We did
did.
lose a lot
It
of
was
people,
hard.
and we it was hard, and we have to like send those families love and like, and I
Yes.
get it, and
Yes.
and people made some huge changes. The changes in my life were all net positive, very, very, really, really hard.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong,
Yes.
really hard, and like,
Really hard.
and to the point where some of them were people had been telling me for years, and I had to hear it. The other thing I will say though to your audience is that culture changes, and
Yes.
that is completely okay
Yes, it is.
because like today this is the culture I'm working with, and this will drive the spa, and we will, but it everything will shift and change, and I'll try to keep it within the loving, respectful place of
Yeah.
where of what I've said,
Yeah.
but everything shifts and changes, definitely.
Does. It
So
sure
yeah.
does. And I think I'll do a yes and.
Yes.
Your culture's gonna evolve. Maybe that's the word I would
Oh,
use.
that's a better word. Yes,
It's
evolve.
going
I
to
like that.
evolve.
Yes.
Well, because as
Yes.
the business grows and changes, as you add different people doing different things, it's
Right.
going to evolve. The values and the purpose, your mission and vision, those can
Yeah.
evolve and change too. But some of those core elements will remain the same. The best way to manage that evolution so that it doesn't get out of control, so that it stays focused, is to do that strategically.
Yeah.
Really think intentionally about your people's strategy. How do you want it to? What does it look? Just the same way you would do your business plan. You would plan your
Yeah.
revenue, plan your expenses, plan your client acquisition, plan your capital, if that, plan your marketing. You need to
Yeah.
plan for the right people. That's
Absolutely.
absolutely key. So that's my little plug in all of this, is that be intentional about
Yes.
the way you create strategy that adds talent to your business, and then it will grow in a way that you feel really confident about,
Yeah.
that is really manageable, and it's really meaningful. And isn't that what we all want in our business?
Absolutely. And you said it. You really did say it beautifully. I love that. And the other, I'll just add one little thing to it is that the universe, like, will send you along that route to
Yeah.
say, okay, here's your alignment. So
Yeah.
when you do veer off, because we all do, we're
Yeah.
human beings,
Sure.
the universe will drag you right back, and
100%.
you just have to know that, and you hold that in your heart, and you go, okay, because we had a therapist that, this is so random, it hurt a lot of people, clients. It never in the 20 plus years have I had this happen. This therapist just wouldn't listen to people.
Oh,
And yeah, and anyway, long story short, what I said to my staff, I will never, ever, ever bring in someone who doesn't fit within the alignment. Exactly what you just
yeah.
said. So I just wanted to throw that out
No,
there,
I
that
love that.
even when it veers off, you just pull it back, and you go,
Yeah.
okay, this is what I want. So
I love that story. And it just really proves the idea that if you're doing it intentionally, if you're creating creating that intentional culture,
yeah,
nurturing it, creating a strategy for your people that supports that, that yeah, when you do, and you will, inevitably as you grow a team, nobody bats 1,000.
Yep.
You're going to bring someone that doesn't fit. Don't worry, it
Yep.
happens.
Yep.
You see it very clearly for what it is. You can make the decisive change you need. You can rectify and reconnect with the team, move forward really productively, right? It doesn't
Yes.
become the catastrophic, toxic, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
If it does
Exactly.
become that, you need to call me. I will help you fix it.
Yeah,
But it
exactly.
doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be that. Oh
Agreed.
my gosh.
Agreed.
Candace, thank you so much. Thank you for really talking us through your journey, especially these last 4 incredibly challenging years. The way that you have managed this and come back even better than before. I'm very grateful for you sharing some of the insider under the hood pieces with us today.
Well, I'm grateful that you want to listen and that your audience wants to listen, because it is extremely important for people who are small business owners, entrepreneurs, to know this, to know you can come back, you can reinvent. I've pivoted more times than I can even tell you. Like, and each pivot, as some of them small, some of them huge,
Yeah,
each pivot has gotten me to where I am right now,
that's right.
and then just moving forward. So it's, yeah. So
Right? Life's a dance. Sometimes it's more like a cha-cha, but that's okay. 2
yeah,
steps forward,
exactly.
1 step back. I love it.
Exactly.
Candace, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Female Founder Unplugged podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I did hosting this conversation. I feel so lucky that I get to connect with such amazing female entrepreneurs. And if you enjoyed today's session, would you do me a big favor? Would you hit subscribe and give this episode a 5-star review? I'd also love it if you would share with your friends. We've got a goal here at the Female Founder Unplugged podcast to impact 1,000 female founders. And with your help, we can really amplify the message. Thanks again for being a part of the show. And don't forget to connect with me at highvoltageleadership.ca. We'll see you next week.